All right, I'm recording.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. My name is Dr. Charnel Wolverton-Sehon, and I am with Swiftfire International. Really excited to talk to you about one of my very favorite subjects of all, keto and living a keto lifestyle. You know, when I first started this, they actually didn't call it being keto. A ketosis life, or there that term back in 2014. I had woken up 2 or 3 times in a row and kept hearing, get off sugar, get off sugar. And you know, sometimes you get those little nudges where you're thinking, okay, God's talking to me, maybe I need to pay attention to this. After the 3rd time, I was like, okay, I'm paying attention. And I happened Facebook group that was sugar free or something, you know, anything to help me just to have some accountability. That's why I'm doing this right now. I kind of like jumped off the wagon, threw it off the cliff, jumped off the cliff with the wagon, burned the wagon to the ground. Like the wagon has been, it doesn't exist anymore. There's no wagon to fall off of. But anyway, so back in 2014, I looked on Facebook, and this is kind of when groups started and stuff, and I found one group, and that one group was called No Sugar for a Year. And I was like, what? No sugar for a year? Are you kidding me? Like, that's insane. Who would do that? And so, and at that time, really discovered that sugar, spoonful of sugar can go down. It's like in ketchup, and it's in hot dogs, and it's in French fries and potato, like everything, basically carbs, anything white turns to sugar, but that there's also hidden sugars in almost everything on the planet. So I had kind of had it in my mind where I was going to be like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to do you know, maybe a 3-day fast and no sugar or something. And then I had it in my mind to set it for a goal for like a New Year's resolution. And I happened to be interviewing a guy named Doug Addison about setting goals and following through with goals prophetically and shifting your life and stuff. Did that at the end of December because we're severe. He asked me specifically, do you have any goals that you would like to, that you want to work on for yourself? And I said to him, you know, I'm actually thinking sugar first. And my mouth was like, what? Now, I had traveled with this guy once a month for several years. And he and I both worked for Streams Ministries under John Paul Jackson. So we traveled a lot together in multiple cities. And then also I was doing my own conferences, and I would have him speak. He would have me come speak at his stuff sometimes. We were also doing a lot of prophetic evangelism out in California and different places. And so he reminded me of the times when we would go eat, when we were in, you know, in these work spaces together. And he's like, haven't you noticed, like when we go eat Chinese, like I never get the rice and I never get the noodles. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. But he wouldn't like broadcast it. He wouldn't say, I'm eating this because I'm not eating sugar. Like he just ate like that and no one questioned it. And he's from California. So, you know, we just just a California thing or something, right? So, and that he had been sugar-free for 10 years, carb-free pretty much for 10 years. So I was like, wow, that's, and he was like, yeah, it's totally doable. You know, all you got to do is this, this, and this. So I went back to that group and I made the brave like choice to join the group. Just because I didn't want to let him kind of miss. I did it for the 3 days, and I did it for like 5 days. And I had a little bit of keto flu and some things going on and some things detoxing. But then like on the 5th day, maybe the 4th, 5th day, I was like, woo, flying like a kite, cleaning my house, like I had energy, got up in the morning feeling like terrific, sleeping like a baby, clear mind, you know, actually already started playing like 5 days. And so I was like, okay, this is great. And I kept on for the 7. Well, after the 7, like, you know, we'll just see how this goes, you know. And then I'm dropping weight. I'm having to change my pant sizes. I'm like, oh my gosh, what would happen if I actually did an exercise? You know, taking walks, even started working out a bit. I went from 220 pounds, and I actually got all the way down to 1. With the video. Can someone like type it in the chat? Colleen, can you see me?
I can see you. You keep cutting out. The video keeps going, but the sound goes out.
Okay, everyone who's on video, if you could come off of video for a minute, that'll help with the bandwidth.
Do you want me to turn mine off too?
Yeah, just for a temporary. That'll help, I think. I hear a sound warble. You guys know how to turn the video? Okay, let me know if this is better. Is this better?
So far.
Okay. That's weird. Okay, so went on to
Video.
you guys can hear me?
Still warbling a bit.
Can everybody hear me? What's that?
You're still coming in and out a bit.
Okay, everybody hear me now? 2, 3, 4 sounds better. It says Danielle. Anybody else think it sounds better?
It sounds better.
Okay, good. Anyway, so I just kept going, and I just kept going, and I kept going, and I got down, like I said, to 117 pounds. That was a little bit less than I probably needed to be. Got married, I think, I don't know, a couple years later, and put on maybe 25, 30 pounds more. And I think that's probably probably should be around like 140, something like that ish. 145 maybe. I don't know. I choose to know what my perfect weight is. I just like to be able to fit in my favorite jeans. That's my favorite thing. That's my thing. I just want to get my favorite jeans and not feel like puffy and slagging and sluggish and the stuff with the sleeping and all that stuff too. So it's way more, it's never really been about weight at all. It's always, to me, been about just feeling good and being healthy. And so that's what kind of started me on this. I was going to go over a little bit of the science, and then I was going to bring Colleen and Sarah and Teresa on to share a little bit about their experience with it, because I know that they've been in the game a little bit too. But basically, the bottom line is being in ketosis is not the same thing as just cutting back for carbs. You know, a lot of people who have we have a whole group, we have a guided 31-day, it's a year-long membership, but there's 36 videos. So you can watch a short video, maybe 15 minutes a day, that gives you different guidance on what keto is, the basics, you know, all the different things about using tools, sticks, things to find out if you're in ketosis, things to show you why you're not, how alcohol affects it, how substitute sugars affect it. And there's all these different topics that have been raised: how to go grocery shopping, what to look for, healthy snacks, healthy drinks, you know, all that kind of stuff. But when we were in the process of putting that together, you know, we had several people who had multiple testimonies, and I brought a few of them on here because this has been several years since these guys have had this lifestyle now, and I wanted them to just share a little bit so you're not just hearing from me. But the bottom line is our bodies, you know, back in the day when we were cavemen, I should say, we weren't eating 24 hours a day. We weren't eating, you know, every single day all around the year. There were times where there was feast, and sometimes there was, in the winter times, it was more of a famine. But luckily, the way our bodies are set up, even to this day, hold on to more weight during the winter because there's still that physiological thing that turns on that says, okay, it's cold. So cold means store fat. And even though we don't really need to store fat anymore, we tend to hold a little bit more in the winter, not just because it's cold, but also because we're not maybe working out like we normally would or whatever, and maybe a little bit more sedentary. But we got away from all that caveman stuff, didn't we, a little bit? So now there's not really a famine, especially if you live in America. You can get groceries anywhere, really. You can get junk food really anywhere. You can get sugar anywhere. You can go to Old Navy and they're going to have 2 old rows of chocolate right next to the cash register. I mean, miles of chocolate, different chocolate things and candy and sweets and all the terrible stuff. Same thing with even Home Depot and things like that. I mean, it's like loaded with whole chocolate sections and candies and things like that. I don't remember anything like that when I was a kid. I just, maybe that was there and I wasn't thinking through. It seems like I would be aware of the candy as a kid, you know, but it's ever ready. And now things have gotten a little bit better, even at airports and stuff. We have a lot of keto options now, but you don't see a lot of keto options at Old Navy or places like that. Now you'll see them even at the gas station. You're starting to see a little bit more keto stuff, but anyway, so when we are just a regular, normal American standard diet, we're consuming quite a bit of sugar and carbs, which turn into sugar. And if you have an ever ready storage of that, then whatever we're not using as energy gets stored and turns into fat. And what happens is if you drop down your carb count and you stop using carbs and sugar as the energy to keep this machine going, whether it's like moving, pumping your heart, thinking, whatever the energy is required, you move into what's called fat adaptation. And basically all the circuits that used to take sugar and carbs to use as fuel to run the body, they shut down and switch over to a fat adaptation, where it basically goes into the storage of your body and goes, hey, you know what, we're not getting any fuel here, so we got to switch over. And it moves into fat adaptation and starts using the fat in our body to be the fuel, and you start burning that down. And it does have a physical, chemical, all the different effects that change your hormones, tremendously changes your hormones, which is the reason why your energy is very different and your sleep pattern can be different, your sex life can be different. There's a lot of different things that change, like your libido and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, all of those things are something that, you know, I tend to suggest when you're first getting in to get below like the 10 carb mark just for at least a few days, then maybe up to 15, no more. And then do that until you actually get into ketosis. I would say you're normally like the 4th or 5th day that you're in this shift that it takes to kind of get. Sometimes people can do it in like 72 hours. I've seen less than that, but that's kind of an overall like really short version, basic of why it's important. It changes cholesterol levels, insulin. We've had a lot of testimonies where people got off of insulin and didn't have to do, you know, some people had pumps and different things for diabetes and their pump wouldn't go on anymore. I mean, we've had a lot of really cool, and some of these people are on here, a lot of cool testimonies, Miss Lola and some others too. But Colleen, can you share a little on your experience. You have to pop on and just give us a little bit, 2 cents of when you started, how you feeling, what was your aha, that kind of stuff.
Well,
are you still
thanks for having me on. I think I mean, we were friends at the time that you started the sugar-free thing, and you started in December, and I thought you were crazy. But you said, hey, we should do this. So starting in January after the holidays, I decided to join you on the sugar-free thing for a year. Because I didn't have any idea. We didn't have any idea that it was called keto. So we just did sugar-free. And I'd already been doing gluten-free and had lost about 75 pounds already and had about 25 to go to where I really wanted to be, but I'd been stuck for a while. So backing up, before I started the gluten-free stuff, I weighed in at 256 pounds, and I had gone to convention, and it was Utah, and I felt so frustrated because I couldn't just even walk down the street without feeling like I was going to pass out. And I knew there had to be more to life than that. I had 3 friends that fall that passed away that were my age. One was my cousin that was my twin cousin. We were born on the same day. And they had all died from overweight related issues. And so I knew that I needed to do something more than just live at 256 pounds for the rest of my life. And I still had small children, so I didn't want to leave them behind. So I decided, sure, why not? Let's do this whole gluten-free thing. And then I did the sugar-free thing, and we did the whole Keto Flu thing. I remember you and I chit-chatting back and forth and just wondering, is this normal? Is it supposed to feel like this? Is it, whatever. And I got down to my low. So I started at 256, and the lowest I hit was 149. And then menopause kicked in. And depression, I had some depression stuff that was going on. We had moved to Indiana, and I just didn't get out and do the exercise part of it. So for me, the key was to cut the sugar out and to exercise, and that seems to be more the key. So I gained back about 40 of those pounds and was sitting right at 200 again. Maybe it was 40. Yeah, it was 43 pounds I had gained back, and I was sitting at 200 again this past Christmas. So in January, I decided that I was going to try something I hadn't tried before, and that was fasting, because I wanted to get back into ketosis as quickly as possible. And I figured if I fasted for 3 days, I would hit ketosis pretty fast. But because I haven't really been completely out of ketosis other than the couple of weeks right at Christmas time, it was only within 24 hours I was back into ketosis, and was already feeling the amazing effects of not having all of that sugar in my system. Guys, I ate a whole recipe of peanut brittle at Christmas time. I don't even know what I was thinking. I've had that much sugar in like 4 years or 5 years. So I was feeling pretty sick, but I did the 24 hours. I went back into ketosis, and then I did a 6. I did.
Can you hear me, Colleen?
Fast. I'm sorry. Did you say something, Charnel?
Teresa, can you pop off the video for me?
I can.
Yeah, I was just asking Teresa if she could pop off the video for a minute.
Okay. All right. How do I do that?
Just to help with the audio. It has.
All right. Hang on.
Just hit at the bottom. On the bottom.
If you hit on your picture,
I got it.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It's just. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Go for it. You were saying the fasting.
Yeah, so in January, I decided to try a fast, and I've never been really successful with that. I made the first day, and I had gone back into ketosis, so I thought, hey, I'll do 3 days so I make sure I'm in ketosis before I go back off of this and start eating again. And it went from there, and I ended up doing 44 days of just bone broth and coffee and water. I had some tea, but I'm not a big tea drinker, so it didn't last very long. I bought tea, and that's about all it did. It sits in the cabinet still. But I did make my own bone broth, and we talked a little bit about that. But for me, that was the key. Every time I fasted before, I always did juice because that's what I was told to do. But I was hungry all the time, and the bone broth kept me from feeling hungry, and I felt amazing. 44 days later, I had lost 30 pounds. I took a 1 week break because my husband had a dinner we were supposed to go to, and I didn't want to show up at the dinner at 52 days into a fast and try to figure out what I was going to eat and how I was going to do that. And then I jumped back into a 17-day fast. So that's been my experience this year. And I dropped from 203, which is where I was at, back down to about, let me think, it was 166 is where I stopped at. So that's where I've been this year. You still there? Is my phone frozen?
Colleen, is your video on? Colleen, can you hear me?
It is. I can hear you now. Now I can hear you. Can you hear me? Let me turn my video off. Will that work?
You did 44 days and then 17 days. That's crazy awesome. I did the fast too with her, and can you guys see me? We started that fast together, and I only did 27 days, and I was just like, wow. But yeah, she's such a trooper. She went 44 days, took a week off, and then went back to 17 days. I was like, geez Louise, that is amazing. But that's a first for me too. I've only done 7 days at a time. So tell me how you physically felt as just being in keto, because we could talk a lot about fasting, but since the people here probably won't do a 44-day fast tomorrow, what are some benefits that you saw just during, changing up your keto lifestyle?
Well, one of the benefits is that I'm not hungry all the time. So I'm not eating all the time. When I want to eat, I don't feel like I'm starving myself and not allowing myself to have foods that I enjoy eating, like bacon. And then just the lessened pain in my joints and more energy. I think I have probably taken out 6 to 10 bags in the last while of garbage, just stuff that I don't need anymore. I don't have any need for it anymore. And that's part of that with the keto, for me anyways, has been just getting rid of things that I don't need anymore, things that I've held on to.
Hold on a second. For some reason, I'm having trouble. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Colleen, you were like frozen a little bit. Let's try to get through this. Sorry.
Okay. So about the benefits, that's what
go ahead.
About.
I think you said you took out 23. I think you said you took out 23 bags of garbage out of your house.
I've probably taken 10 to 15.
Did you say you cleaned up a bunch?
Yeah, I I've cleaned up, I've painted, I have a lot more energy. Wow. So yeah. It's frozen again.
Yeah, it is. I don't know I hope we can get Sarah on real quick and get her 2 cents.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to.
I'll turn my video off and that'll help.
Thank you for sharing.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Sarah, you want to pop on and share for a few minutes?
Sure. So a little bit of background on me. I have started keto about 2.5 years ago. And a little backstory before that, weight has for me and my family's been a struggle in the past. And so I've been on the roller coaster, the up and down of trying things, losing some weight, gaining it back. A couple years before I started keto, I did a lot of eliminating gluten and a lot of dairy, and I had dropped some weights and gained it back. So it was never consistent for me. Before I started keto, I had been up to 260, 270. And when I started keto with what I had cut out already, I had lost like maybe 15, 20 pounds. So I think I started keto at 245. And in the first 4 weeks alone, dropped 20 pounds. And I was like, okay, this is amazing. And I didn't know what keto was. I didn't know what giving up sugar meant. It was just something that I had been at a point where I knew I needed to make some changes. It was just after I turned 40 and after I was quitting my full-time job without having anything lined up. So it was my season of change, I call it, because that's exactly what it was. And so I jumped on, in this group, started keto, went full force. And the same thing with Colleen. It's like there was incredible energy, clarity in the brain. I wasn't exhausted, no brain fog, just this motivation to do things and knowing that you can. I think the lowest that I got was probably, I forget if it was a year or if it was last summer, down to 190. And I have not been below 215 prior to that since before high school. So for me, that was a huge victory. And just with the weight, but even more important than that was noticing how I felt physically with everything, all those benefits from keto. It was just amazing. And the one thing that I think made a lot of difference for me was the mindset and telling yourself that you can do this, that I was envisioning where I wanted to be, seeing myself at 180 pounds, seeing my muscles that I've never seen before. So a lot of it comes from, that mindset and telling yourself you can do this and you can. So. And I will say too,
So awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. I was just gonna say, and you won, I think, like contests that we had, didn't we? Didn't you win both times?
Both times. And the other thing
That's
too,
crazy.
I'm still on this journey right now because I'm a teacher. And so like the last 4 weeks we've been teaching from home. So I did the fasting with Colleen and Charnel. I did a 11-day fast in the beginning of March and then coming right back, spring break, and then everything happens. And it's frustrating sometimes what you return to on certain levels. But that, again, mindset is like, I'm ready. So this week has been amazing. And it was just perfect timing to come on and share. So thank you.
We got this, girl.
Yes.
We're in it together. We've been a long time doing this together. And like I said to everyone at the beginning, like the reason why I'm doing this video and joining in with like inviting everyone to do it with me is because I find that I do better when I know that everyone knows that I'm doing it. Like there's such accountability in the group of like checking on people, and then we'll have like, everyone, let me see your sticks, and we'll such an inspiration of just your posts and the different things that you put in the group have always been so positive, and recipes and things like that. And I'm just really proud of you and really excited for all your victories, even in this stuff that's happening. I think all of us are, in that like, what the heck is going on kind of situation right now. But we're going to get through this and we can only do better in numbers. So I'm personally going to be starting on Monday. I know it sounds terrible to be like, it's Thursday night and I'm giving myself the weekend, but I have some things that are going on this weekend that I'm just being wise about. And so anyone of you who are interested in joining, we're going to start on Monday, and I am going to give a special 30% off for anyone who joins the keto group who's on this call. I'll send the coupon out to everybody who wants to start. Plus that'll give everybody a little bit of time if they want to like gut out their pantry and put it in a safe and lock and maybe find some keto type food. But and don't forget too, I have this book, Keto Reset, for those of you who may not have seen my book, Keto Reset. This goes and it just has a chapter after chapter. You could just read it once a day to reprogram. And I read my own book. I know it's crazy, but there's the topics in here are more like a daily devotional kind of thing where it keeps me remembering and reprogramming and understanding and, you know, just keeping it in me. I found myself too watching a lot of documentaries about keto on YouTube or Netflix and things like that. There's so much great information out now that there wasn't many years ago. And I find that the more, for, at least for me, the way my science brain works is the more I know why I'm doing it, the easier it is to make the choices. You know, when you start looking at the physical body, and for me, understanding like, oh, these choices make this happen and these choices make this happen. And this is what happens to the chemistry of your brain. And then you have different chemistry that goes into your stomach and the acid changes and the hormones change and all this. For me, that's just part of my makeup where I like getting all this information to give, you know, I got to know the ins and outs of certain things just to be able to participate. So, Teresa, do you mind sharing with us a little bit? Because I know you got a lot to say too. Yes, thank you. So people are saying thank you. Accountability, it does make it better. Yes, it definitely does.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to pop off so your volume is better. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Well, my journey started on January 3rd, 2018, all because of a post that you made, Dr. Charnel. You remember the one where the brain and it showed sugar and cocaine and the sugar lit the brain up like a pinball machine? Do you remember that? That grabbed me. And I knew absolutely not one thing about keto, nothing. And I was very nervous about joining the group, but I took that step. And from day one, the keto group supported me in every way with all of your videos, just day by day, made it very easy to learn and to stay on track, and just gave me lots of pointers and ideas, and it was amazing. I know I'm hearing, and I did see on the post, a lot of people in this group saw a lot of weight loss, and I actually only lost between 5 to 6 pounds, which I thought was kind of unusual hearing the other weight loss. But when I went to try on pants, I went from a size 10 to a size 4 in just a matter of maybe 8 to 10 weeks. It was amazing. I was buying clothes for Young Living convention. I was buying some summer clothes, and I couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking, my goodness, I've only lost, you know, I kept feeling my body, and I started feeling ribs I didn't know I had. And so it was not totally for me about losing a lot of weight. I thought 142 and a size 10 was good. But the first thing I started noticing was my back pain had vanished. My joint pain was gone. And it was amazing because I had been told that in 10 years, in 2007, that I'd probably be back for some back surgery. And here it is, 2020, and I still don't need back surgery. So I don't know. It's just been the most wonderful journey that I've ever taken. It's just been super, super. I've got energy. I'm almost 64 years old, and I've got energy. I've got clarity of mind. You can ask my employer. I'm the oldest one there and probably the healthiest. Never miss work. I just love it. It's a journey. It's
That
a
is
lifestyle.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. It is so good. And I have shared with so many people. I start talking about it and I can't stop. It's just the greatest journey I've ever taken, and I'm still on it. I'm still doing it. It's going to be my life.
That's awesome. Somebody
What now?
being 5 pounds, but don't lose muscle. I don't know if I remember the part about you only losing 5 pounds, but changing the sizes.
Okay.
I don't know if I remember that, but oh, you went away. But that's awesome. Someone's asking the question, did you ever use any sugar substitutes?
They asked what now?
What did you ever use any kind of sugar substitutes?
I was using well, I need to back up. I'm sorry. The weight loss within the first few weeks was that. I weigh 118 now. I should have clarified that. So I started out at 142 and I weigh 118 now. I
Wow.
didn't see the rapid weight loss that a lot of people saw. I was shrinking in inches. You see what I'm saying? But
That's awesome.
I'm at 118. I weighed this morning.
That's awesome.
But I use stevia. I was using Splenda till I found out that was not good. And of course I learned that through the boot camp. But no, I'm on stevia and heavy whipping cream and all the good keto things.
Yes, we have one post where we talk about just the main staples that everyone needs to have. We have one on sugar substitutes, talk about exercise. What are different things, tools you can use. There's different breath things, and then there's keto sticks, which I love. But did you ever use keto sticks?
You're cutting out and I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, use keto sticks?
Yes.
What? Here, I'll get out. Let's see.
Okay. You need me to get out?
No, you go ahead. Tell me about why were keto sticks so important to you? Like, what did you like about them?
The keto sticks?
Yes.
Well, you could be able to judge if you're not in keto, then your little Pac-Men are not coming out of your little ketones eating up all the fat. It kept you accountable. Like one day I could maybe have too many carbs and not really realize it. I stayed between 20 carbs because I do the Ninja every day. So you had said that we could have 5 extra because of the Ninja. But no, the keto sticks, I felt like I was keeping myself in check. So if one day I was not in keto, then I could kind of watch what I was doing the next day and correct it.
Yes, that's awesome. Have you guys ever used keto sticks? I'm curious.
I
don't even
do.
know.
I do. I use them. Most days I test at least once to see where I'm at.
Yeah. Lola's saying yeah too. I know for me, I guess I'm I'm popping back on. For me, I'm a red, and I'm also very green, like, so sciencey data person. So for me, I keep them in my purse. I keep one in all my bathrooms, because I would even, like, if I walked in a bathroom and realized that they weren't in there, I would, like, go in another bathroom. Even if I was, like, about to go, I'd be like, no, there's not any Keto sticks in here. I'm pull my pants up and head out to another place, because I'm just like, I like to know, because, and I would test every time I went to the bathroom. That might be overboard, but because I would eat, then, and I got kicked out, I wouldn't know what kicked me out. But if you test every time that you go to the bathroom, then you could kind of trace back your steps to the last couple hours and say, hey, what did I eat in the last couple hours? And you can better identify what the thing is that may have thrown you out, if something threw you out. One thing I do need to really, really make sure I mention this, because I wrote it down and I still, for some reason, it escaped me before we get off, and then we're going to close. But all of this that we're talking about, please make sure you understand that we are all talking about nutritional ketones. We're talking about endogenous, like internal, your liver makes your own ketones. I know that there are exogenous ketones on the market that are made synthetically, that you can buy over the internet, or I go to stores. I know there's MLMs that do it. And please, 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 for the love of God, hear me. I do not support those at all, nor will I ever. And none of us that were on here do that. I actually was a part of a data study with over-the-counter man-made ketones through a drink. And I thought it was a great idea, because everyone kept saying, these are great. And it was a doctor that I really do love and care for. And he was just like, hey, I got this new product. Will you try it for me, with me? I'm doing a study with me, myself, and a couple of other people. Before he wanted to test it on his patients, he wanted to test it on the doctors that were with him. And I used them. And what ketos do, synthetic keto, is when you take them, not only is it like a mass amount of ketones to your kidneys, which is very harmful, extremely harmful, because your kidneys are not used to just all of a sudden have mass amounts of ketones, whether they're synthetic or not. But what happens is, when you start taking anything synthetic, then your body goes, oh, well, I don't need to do this anymore because someone's doing it for me. And your body quits making it. Even if you go off of the exogenous kind, and even if you stopped eating sugar, your body, it takes a long, long, long time to get back into it took me months to get back into ketosis. And I was so jacked up. I'm telling you, I bloated. My kidneys got very harmed, and I literally, my legs held up on my body like 4 or 5 days. And they told us that the way to use them would be like, well, maybe you're doing ketosis kind of regular, but if you want to go to that birthday party and you want to eat the cake, then just take this stuff and put it in your drink, and then drink it right before you get to the birthday party. That way you have ketones to burn up the cake that you eat. So it's training you to eat bad, and then have something synthetic, which anything that's synthetic, body, will start like working to build immunity to it and to try to get it out of your system, which takes a lot of energy. It's the same thing with anything, pharmaceuticals, anything less than pharmaceutical-made meds that are not good for you, and that your body will, do its best to try to detox. And so your liver will not like you, kidneys will not like you, and some people have had kidney failure, major kidney damage from these over-the-counter exogenous ketones. So please, when you hear me say anything about ketosis and you hear any one of these people, we're talking about the kind where your liver, your own liver, creates this on its own, and it does the job. Now, the reason why it takes a few days to get into ketosis is because your liver will let go just a little bit at a time, because if you just burst out with a bunch of ketones all at once, just a big mass amount of them, your kidneys would be like, which is what the exogenous stuff does. So your body knows you, and it's smart in the way we're okay, try this. And then home free, because your body is actually made to be in fat adaptation anyways. The most the best way that our body can be on a regular basis, and the way we were born to be. So anyway, I hope this helps. Do you guys have any last words or anything in this? I do want to say, hey, guys, my book about Monday, Tuesday. I don't know about anybody else, but does anyone have anything they want to say before we get off? Okay. Well, I thank you so much for all of us that are here, and thankful for all of you just joining in to remember and to get educated. And hopefully there's some things here that you can take home and implement and use in your own life and in your own family. I appreciate all of you guys so much. And I wanted to let you know too, also, that next Tuesday, we are teaching a class on crystals, oils, energy. I'm going to be interviewing a man named Frank Lazaro out of New Jersey, who works with the paranormal, and he works with a lot of different churches. And they use a lot of these things to help with the supernatural. Next Thursday, I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Richard Bartlett, who has a double medical degree, and he's about quantum physics and the matrix and what's going on in the world right now. And then also Friday next week, I'm interviewing Eisenhower, who's the great granddaughter of Dwight Eisenhower, and she's going to talk a lot about what's going on here right now too with all this mass stuff. She's a whistleblower. She's got a lot of inside stuff of what's really truly happening. And if you saw the movie Out of the Shadows, which if you haven't, go watch it, but if you have, then this is, and you liked it and you're interested, the Thursday, Friday classes will be something you really should tune into if you get a yes on that. And I look forward to connecting with you guys. I will be sending the recording of this in the next 48 hours for any of you who wish to do a replay, or send to your friends. You're welcome to send the replay to whoever you want. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. Thanks.